Do you support state police?
Those are going to be things that we discuss. We have to decentralize as much authority as possible, because even if you were not talking about police, I saw an example of what it means not to decentralize authority and decision making. I saw a bit of it in education. You know, the Minister of Education is also the head of the secondary schools, those few secondary schools owned by the federal government that we call the unity schools. And on the basis of centralized power as the head of those schools, even the basic things about school would have to be sent to me as minister to approve before the teacher in the classroom could do certain things. That's the same kind of situation you have, where you centralize issues. There are certain levels of issues of security that should happen at the local and state levels. We have not thought of that part of our federal structure well, because we, unfortunately, were a federal structure that got overrun by centralized governance because of military rule. And because military rule is unitary in its approach, we have ended up taking everything up. Structural issues. And when you have structural issues, you solve structural problems structurally. You don't use Band-Aid to solve structural issues. So I believe that the kind of candid conversation that I would lead the country to have on the matter of restructuring would have to be driven by the economic window. It does not matter how we talk about restructuring. If it is simply about moving boxes, it's not going to be helpful to us. You heard me say that productivity and competitiveness of the country is key. If we are going to triple our GDP, which is about $430 billion now, we're way below our possibilities. If we're going to triple it, then we need to think of what kind of a structure of a country must we have in order to enhance the productivity and competitiveness of all regions of our country, all persons in our country. If you started from the inquiry approach and not an approach that simply says we have to restructure, we need to say, what's our end game? For me, end game is to build a stable, inclusive, prosperous Nigeria where there is equality of opportunity for all persons. If that be so, what kind of structure must we have? So I always approach this conversation on restructuring from the perspective that structure follows function, not the other way around. What functions do we want to serve? Then structure will follow function.